Hello everyone, myself Sowmya, Assistant Professor in CSE AIML Department, MLR Institute of Technology. In this video, we're going to discuss about different form tags, attributes and examples. So coming to the overview of this presentation. So this presentation, we are going to cover a form tag. So under form tag, we have different tags again. So input tag is the main tag which we are using under form tag. And we have different form attributes also. So inside input tag, we have different attributes and we will also see some example programs. So we also have different form tags other than input tag. We have text area tag, label tag, select tag, field set tag. For all these also, we will see the example programs. So coming to the form tag. So generally, if you want to create a form, so you can see if I want to sign up, I will get a form. If I want to log in, I will get a form. If I want to apply for a job, I need to fill a form. So if you want to give a feedback for a website, I need to fill a form. So all these are nothing but form. Like inside a form, it contains different elements. If I want to log in a form, a Gmail page, it will contain username followed by password followed by 2 buttons. So this is one form. The same way I want to give a feedback, pizza delivery. After pizza delivery, I want to give a feedback. So they will ask about the taste, followed by some 5 stars they will give. You can click the 5 stars or 3 stars, whatever you want. And delivery person, about the delivery person also you can give the feedback. And there's also again a form, right? So instead of stars, they can also give the radio buttons like that. So something like that. Everything is nothing but a form. To create this form elements, we are using the main tag as a form tag. So under this form tags, to add these different elements. So different elements in the sense, here you're using the element as a radio button. Here you're using the element as a text field. Here you're using the element as a button. So to add the different elements, we have different tags here. So the main tags which we are using under form tag are the input tag. So inside the input tag, what type of input you are taking, that you can mention, we will see in the example. And next is text area. So text area is nothing but where you can enter multiple lines of text. So if I see this email field, where you can give only a single line of text, but whereas text area will contain the rows, also the columns. So where you can give the multiple lines of text, and the example is a place where you can paste your resume, or a place where you can give your review of a website. So after visiting a website, if it is a new website, sometimes they will ask for the review about the website at the end of the page, right? So give some review about this website in 500 words or 50 words, something. So there they will show the text area where you can write the text in multiple rows. And next button, a clickable button. So like submit button or cancel button or OK button. Then select. Select is nothing but a drop down list. So if I click on this drop down list, a list of items will be selected, displayed. And option tag. So in the selection tag, in the drop down list, if I click on this button, automatically the options will be added, displayed. So to add those options, you're using option tag. And next is field set tag. Field set tag is nothing but whenever you're filling a form, for example, I want to apply for a job. In that job, it will ask different types of details like personal details, professional details, educational details, qualification details, something like that. So to differentiate those categories, we are using this field set tag, that also we will see as an example. The next is label. Label is only for understanding purpose. So we know this field is to enter the email ID. So what generally we will get before this text field, I will get username or email. So this is a static text that is only for understanding purpose, that you're calling as a label. The next field is password. So I will get a message like this, a label like this, password. So this is only for understanding purpose. The user will understand, okay, I need to enter some password here. So this is nothing but a label here. So that we can do using label tag. So in the input tag, we can ask the user for the different types of input. The input may be different types, right? So based on the type of the data you're reading from the user, we can change the input type. The first input type is button. If I write input type is equal to button, a button will be created. For that, you need to add the button or functionality later using other attributes. The next is input type is equal to checkbox. So a checkable box will be created. And next input type is equal to date. If I give the date, a calendar will be displayed. Here a calendar. If I click on it, the calendar, current month calendar will be open. Next email. If I give input type is equal to email, it is same as text box only, but it will expect @ symbol in that text field. If I simply give ABC in that text field, it will not accept. Why? Because it is an email field, so @ is mandatory for that field. And next is number field. So number field, if I give the number field, I will get a field like this with the increment and decrement Operators in the sense of buttons. If I click on it, the number will be incremented. If I click on it, 1, 2, 3, something like that, incremented. If I click on it, the number will be decremented. So that's the number field. And password field is also similar to text field, where you can give your password. The password will not be visible to the user. So instead of the characters, it will display the dots or stars. And radio, input type is equal to radio. If I give the type is equal to radio, a radio button will be created with a circle. And reset, input type is equal to reset. It is also a button. The name of the button is reset. And if I click on this button, all the fields will be reset. So whatever the details I have filled till now, that will be erased. So input type is equal to submit is also a button. So generally this type submit button will submit the form to the server. So if you are actually connecting to the server, or if you're connecting to some backend program, the submit button will submit the content to the backend application. And when what is the application you're giving that to that application, it will submit. And input type is equal to text is the last field. That's the text field. It will expect some text from the user. So your name, last name, father's name, mother's name, whatever it may be, for that you're using this text field. So this is a simple program where most of the components or most of the elements are covered here. The first tag I'm opening as form tag. So here whatever I'm writing normally, without using tag, whatever the things I'm writing, I can consider them as a labels. So if you want to write this name, directly you can write the name. How the output will be? In the output I can see this, the same thing. Whatever you're writing here, the same thing can be appeared in the output. So instead of this, I can also write label for. So label for what? It is name. Whatever you want to display, that you can write here. So using label tag, you can write the same thing like this. If I don't want to write the label tag, instead of this, you can directly mention the name in the program. So name followed by, for the name, what is the type of the input field? Input type is equal to text field. So obviously I will enter my name as Sowmya. So it will expect only the characters. For that you need to give only the text. And BR tag. So as we seen already in the previous video, the BR tag is nothing but the break tag. It will come to the next row. So next field is password. So input type is equal to password field only, again BR tag. Email ID, and the type will be email. So why? Because it will expect @ symbol. So next is phone number. Phone number, I'm using the the type as number. And date of birth, for this date of birth, I'm using the type as date. And next, gender. So gender is nothing but the user should able to choose only one button at a time. So for that purpose, I need to choose the radio button. So how many genders I need to give here? 3 genders I'm giving. So input type is equal to radio. What is the value you're displaying? Male, female, transgender. But out of these 3, I should choose only one button at the same time. For that purpose, to create this radio button, simply if I give input type is equal to radio, it's not sufficient. I should also provide a common group name for all these 3. So out of these 3, I should able to choose only one item at a time. To make that, I am making these 3 as one group. For that purpose, I am using name. So name is equal to, what is the group name? Gender. For the second one also, name is equal to gender. For the third one also, name is equal to gender. So I am creating a group called gender. Under this gender, how many values we have? 3 values. How many values are there in this group? First one is male, second one is female, third one is transgender. So that the user should able to select only one item from that group. Instead of this, if I give gender 1, gender 2, gender 3, what happens? Gender 1 will be one group, gender 2 will be one group, gender 3 will be one group, so that I can choose multiple options at the same time. So that's why if I want to make, if I want to make the user to select only one item from this group, you should give the same name for all these 3 radio buttons. And next is languages noun. So languages noun, the user should able to choose multiple options. Why? Because the user may know multiple languages at the same time. So here I cannot use the radio button concept, but instead of that, I'm using the type as checkbox. So here the name should be different. So name is equal to English, name is equal to Telugu, name is equal to Hindi. I should not write the same group here. And the values you're displaying as English, Telugu and Hindi, where the user can select multiple options at the same time. And after adding the languages known, I'm creating 2 buttons here. One is reset button and the other one is submit button. If I click on submit button, nothing will happen. Why? Because you're not connecting to the server or you are not connecting to any backend application. But when you click on reset button, all the values which you have entered till now, that will be erased. So that's all. Finally, you're closing the form tag. So this output you're going to get. So here the output is not aligned. Of course, if you want to align this program, you can use the table tag for this form program. And we have different attributes for this form tag, some attributes. So the first attribute is checked. So generally checked will be used with input field. So the description about the checked attribute is specified that an input element should be pre-selected when the page loads. For example, checkbox or radio button. So generally I want to apply for a job where the English language is mandatory there. So there what they will ask. So you can see the language is known English, Telugu, Hindi. But by default what they will do? They will tick this English. Why? Because English is mandatory, right? So by default they will tick that. I don't need to tick it specifically. That is default one. So initially it should be enabled. So in that case, I should write that field as checked. That I will see. I will show you. The next attribute is name. So specifies the name of the input field. We have given, right? So for input field, we have given name. So sometimes it may be a group name like a radio button. If I'm writing a radio button, the name will be worked as a group name. And for other things, you can give the name of the text field or name of the corresponding field. And next is read only. So some fields we have that is only read only. You can't edit that. So specify an input field is only read only. So we have something like organization name. Here we have a name called organization name. They have already written that the organization name is MLR IT. That you can't edit that, right? So it is only read only field. You can see that, but you can't edit that. You can't edit that. You can't change it. So next is required. So if I don't write the required field, for example, here these are all not required, right? Still I can submit. Without entering any of these details, I can click on submit. The form will be submitted. If I am connecting to the server also, the form will be submitted. Why? Because these are all not required. These are all not mandatory. But if I write required at the end of the tag, so that field is required. Without entering that field, you can't submit your form. So specify that input field must be filled out before submitting the form. If it is filled, then only the form will be submitted. Otherwise, it will not be submitted. So next is value. If you want to give some value to that text field or any field, then the value attribute will be used. Specifies the value of an input element. So I'm giving the value as some XXX. So initially, the XXX will be placed inside the text field. Whatever the value you want to specify there, that you can give as value. So these are the different attributes. Of course, we have many attributes, but we have listed only few here. So here I'm covering some of the attributes which we discussed here. See, for every field, you can observe at the end of the tag, I'm adding this required attribute. So that each and every attribute is mandatory. I mean, each and every value is mandatory for submitting the form. And also, what different things we have made it checked. So here you can check the English language. At the end of this tag, you're writing checked. So by default, whenever you open that form, it is already checked. Right. So next tag is text area tag. So text area tag is a different tag. So in input tag you can't write that. Input type is equal to text area is not there, but text area tag is a separate tag where you can write the multiple lines of text. So the syntax of text area tag is having two attributes. One is rows and the other one is columns. So how many rows you can see at the same time, that is 4 rows, and each row will contain how many characters? 50 characters. So we can write 4 rows of content and each row will contain 50 characters. That doesn't mean you can write only 4 rows of data. I can also write 5th row, 6th row data, but that you can't see. So after completing this 4 rows of data, I'm trying to enter 5th row of data. Automatically, the scroll bar will be added here. But each row will contain a maximum of 50 characters only. So here text area rows is equal to 4, columns is equal to 50. So I'm writing 4 rows of content. So the 4 rows of content will be added here. And now if I enter another row of text here, that will be added, but that you can't see. Next is label tag. So already we have seen the labeling, but we didn't use the label tag for that. Whatever the static content is there, to generate that static content, we are using the label tag. So here I'm using an additional attribute here, which we didn't discuss in the previous slide. So along with the form tag, I'm using a tag called action tag. So action tag is used to submit the form to any page. So generally in the action tag, we will write the server page, server side programming page. So here I'm writing the action page as a PHP page. So PHP is one of the backend programming language. So whatever the data you're writing here, that data will be submitted to the action_page.php, a backend page. So what that backend program will do, it will check whether your data is valid or not. It will verify your application. So here I'm using the label tag. So the first one is radio button I'm writing. So after creating the radio button, so it will simply create the radio button. So after radio button, what you want to add? You want to add a static text. For that static text, I'm using the label. So label for what? HTML. And what you want to display as a label? HTML. So in the same way, next again radio button, I'm using label for CSS, and what you want to display on the web page, CSS. So whatever you want to display, that you need to write outside of your label tag, right? So that will be displayed. So even if you don't write this label for tag also, this will be displayed if I directly write that. So next tag is select tag. Select tag is used to create a drop down list. So using select tag, you can only create a drop down list, but if you want to add the option to that set of options to set of items to that select tag, you need to use another tag called option tag. So select name is equal to cars, ID is equal to cars. So what this drop down list will contain? The drop down list will contain different set of cars. And I'm adding different cars here. Option value is equal to Volvo. So what it will be displayed? Volvo will be displayed. Outside the tag, whatever you're writing, that is only for displaying purpose. And inside the tag, you're giving some value. That is not displayed, but that is the value actually assigned for your appeared value. For example, a drop down list. For example, Volvo, some Maruti, I-20, something I'm writing here. So I don't want to give the exact value. Instead of that, I want to give some integer values. For Volvo, I can give the value as 1. For Maruti, I can give as 2. For I-20, I can give the value as 3. So what you can see only the text, Volvo, Maruti, I-20. These things you are displaying outside of the tag. But internally, I want to give some values for that. That you can give whatever you want, you can give. So I'm giving some integer values like this. But here, what we are giving the value for Volvo, I'm giving as Volvo only, but you can see it is capital. The displaying purpose, you are using capital. But internally, what is the assigned value for this? It is small. So it is important while checking in the backend. So that is mandatory. You have to be careful with the value which you are assigning for your appear values. So whatever you are seeing on the website may not have the same value internally. So this is an example, the same program, label for cars. So what is the label you are giving? Choose a car. So you will get a message called choose a car. And after that, you're creating a select tag. So select name is equal to cars, ID is equal to cars. So if you are not operating that, if you are not interacting with that, this is not mandatory. The attributes are not mandatory. You can directly write select tag. But name is for understanding purpose. So you can see by seeing that names, you can tell, okay, this drop down list is for different cars, something like that. You can see that. And next, inside the select tag, a drop down list will be created now. To add the items, you are using another tag called option. So what are the options you're adding? Volvo, Saab, Opel, Audi. So, but internal values, you can observe you're giving some small case letters. Again, the same thing, internal values also not mandatory if you're not operating that, if you're not interacting with that. Simply only if you want to display a static web page, you can directly add option. And what is the option you're giving? Volvo. That's all. You don't need to give the value. And next, you're closing the select tag, form tag, body tag, HTML. This is the output you will get. A drop down list will be created, and what is the first item you're getting? Volvo. And if you click on this drop down list, the remaining list of items will also be visible. So next is field set tag. So as we discussed in the overview slide, field set tag is used to divide your page into different sub pages. So if I want to apply, if I want to fill a form for job application, there it will ask different details like personal details, qualification details, experience details. Some different set of categories of details will be there. To differentiate that set of categories, we are using this field set. So field set tag is used to group related items in a form, related elements in a form. The field set draws a box around the related items. For example, these set of details are related to personal. So I can give a name as personal. And next set of details are related to educational. And next set of details are related to experience. So like that, I can make a group of elements in like a box, and that box you're calling it as field set. Right. So for this field set, you can also mention a name. So you can observe here this set of details. For this, I'm giving the name as personal name. So this name you can give using a tag called lesson tag. So field set tag will create only box, but to give a name for that field set box, you are using a tag called lesson. So if it is not containing personal details, but if it is containing some educational details, what you can write instead of this? You can give some educational details, or you can give it as experience details, something like that. Whatever the details it is containing, that box is containing, that particular name, you have to give that. After that, it's just similar to a form tag. So within the form tag, first you're writing the field set tag so that a table will be created. And for that table I want to give, so I'm writing the lesson tag. And after that, whatever the details you want to write within that box, you can write. The first is first name, last name, email, birthday, submit. You can see first name is a text field, last name is a text field, email is an email field, birthday is a date field, and followed by submit button. So that's all. Finally, you're closing the field set tag. Whenever you close the field set tag, the box will be closed, and after that, you're also closing the form tag, body tag, and HTML tag. So that's all about the basic form tags which we discussed in the video, this PPT. So this PPT contains the form tags like input tag, label tag, select tag, option tag, also the field set tag to draw the boxes for the related items. And we also discussed about the text area tag with different examples. Thank you.